Salvete omnes. This is Professor Silverblank here walking you through a very literal translation of Catullus 56. And as you watch this video, I'll invite you to think actively with me by asking you questions and then answering them after giving you a second to think. If you find that I'm answering my own questions a little too quickly, make sure to use the pause button and then time it in a way that works better for you. So let's start in line 1. O rem ridiculam catet iocosam. And here we begin with an accusative phrase after this O, and Garrison tells us a little note about this that I didn't include in this video because we've seen it before, so I didn't think you quite needed it. So rem and ridiculam and iocosam are in what kind of accusative? The answer is the exclamatory accusative. So here we can see Catullus is exclaiming something yet again. Oh, ridiculous matter and laughable, Cato. And worthy, so dignam here is agreeing with rem, worthy for ears and your cackling. So here we have a note on tuo from Garrison, and Garrison notes that tuo agrees with kakino, but we can also take it as modifying auribus, although not grammatically. So the grammatical agreement here is between tuo and kakino, but there's a sort of implied connection between tuo and auribus. Suitable or appropriate for your ears and your laughter. Going on to the next line, ride quid quidamas cato catullum. So this verb is in what mood? Ride. It is in the imperative mood. It's second person singular and active. So laugh whatever you love Catullus, Cato, or going over to the note here, quid quidamas, to the extent that you love Catullus. So laugh as much as you love Catullus, Cato. And the joke is that Cato doesn't love Catullus, so that's how much he's going to laugh. And we've seen this quid concept before, where Catullus often uses relative or indefinite terms or terms of equation or simile or comparison in order to convey an indefinite quantity in his own poetry. So however much X, that's how much Y, and he's often playing with those quantities. Next line 4, res est ridiculet nemis iocosa. Okay, so here we have a repetition of the word res, which we saw in the first line, but in the nominative form here, the affair is ridiculous and really too hilarious or excessively hilarious. So repetition of res, ridicula from ridiculum, iocosa from iocosam. And we also see repetition of the placement of the name Cato here. So we're noticing a lot of structural parallelism in Catullus's lines. De prendi moropupulum puellae trusantem. And normally, if I read this whole line, I would elide that last syllable. But I'm just going to pause this here. So de prendi, what verb does de prendi come from? And what is its first principal part? Its first principal part is de prehendo. But we often see some of these letters get omitted. So the third principal part is de prehendi, which is different from this form because it's syncopated. So we're kind of chopping off or leaving out some of the letters. And there we have a syncopated or shortened form. So if this is our third principal part of de prehendo, de prendi, then it is in the perfect active indicative. All right, so I caught just now pupulum, a little boy, humping the girl. I, if it is pleasing to Dione, or by metonymy, Venus, because Dione is Venus's mother in certain mythological narratives, if it pleases Dione, and Dione is in what case and why? It's in the dative. Placet takes a dative if it is pleasing to Dione. Okay? So if it's pleasing to Dione, now we go to our verb, kekiri. What does this word mean? And what is its first principal part? The first principal part of this verb is kaido. Good, I'm sure that's exactly what you said. Kaido, kaidore, kekiri. Kekiri. So here we see that the part we have, like the prendi, is the third principal part, and that makes it the perfect active indicative. And what does this word mean? What does kaido mean? It means to strike or cut. We have a note here from Garrison in the side on the bottom right-hand corner. Kekiri, slang for sexual intercourse. I banged him. The verb is used punningly in two senses. So I'll leave it to you and your interpretations to figure out what you think that means. But now putting this all together, I cut, and then what's the direct object of kekiri? Good, it's hunk. So from the pronoun, this is the accusative masculine singular. So it's agreeing or referring back to the pupulum trusantem. So I cut him down, or I banged him, with my rigid thing, or my penis, as or like a spear. So one more time. Oh, ridiculous thing, Cato, and laughable, and worthy for your ears and your laughter. Laugh as much as you love Catullus, Cato. The thing is ridiculous and too hilarious. I, just now, caught a boy humping my girl. I, if it's pleasing to Venus, cut him down with my penis instead of my, or in place of, or in the means of a spear.